Shut up. Good morning! And welcome back to the Overruled podcast. We are back from our short little wonderful break that we've been having this past couple of weeks. Yeah, mostly because of technology and really not feeling like dealing with it. So let's catch up. Devin, how have you been? Alright, good answer. Nolan, how are you?
I've been having the greatest time.
Yeah?
No.
What's up?
I don't know, there's a lot going on, but recently I actually auditioned for the All-County Jazz Band.
Ooh!
I didn't make it.
You didn't make it?
I didn't make it.
Are you kidding me?
I got third overall, but I didn't make it.
That's still really good.
I have problems with auditions for some reason, but like I could play a certain piece until I'm blue in the face and I could not get it wrong. And then the second I step into the audition room, it's like I've never played drums in my life.
Oh, I get that.
And it was not a good time.
Alright. And then for the first time that you guys are meeting him, he was actually on one of the podcasts that failed to record.
Correct.
We have Lorenzo.
Our favorite Brazilian.
So, Lorenzo, you're going to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Alright, first of all, I let out a yee, but I'm not white, so just want everyone listening to know that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I am 16. I go to Green Mountain High School, and I'm a junior. And I'm friends with all these little...
And tell him arguably the
dum-dums.
most important thing about your life.
Arguably the most important thing about my life.
You were born in Brazil. That's all anyone needs to know.
Alright, go for
He
it.
literally said that already.
No, he did not.
He said,
Didn't he?
Did he?
No, he
What?
didn't.
Well, why would we call him our Brazilian if he was not born
Okay,
in
you know
Brazil?
what?
Our
No,
favorite
whatever.
Brazilian boy?
Exactly.
No, whatever. He was born in the slums.
Yeah, so Lorenzo, first time really on the podcast, but second time overall. And what's it feel like being our first ever returning guest?
I mean, it's not like really a returning guest.
I mean,
'Cause
but
I didn't-
kind of.
But like you've been in
I'm
here.
not famous. This is not worth my time.
That's an interesting sentiment to have.
All right.
Exactly.
So, guys, other than jazz, how's your life been, Devin?
Pretty alright.
Yeah, what's all right? Tell us the story.
I've been involved in a lot of drama recently.
There's
Oh my
been a
God,
lot of
so
drama overall.
Stupid drama recently.
Yeah.
That about sums it up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I was really hoping that this week, the week before Thanksgiving break, would be a little easier on us all, but no, that has not been the case.
Yeah.
At all.
I feel that. All right. So, today's topic, Epstein. Was he murdered?
No.
Actually,
That was not the topic.
I didn't want to
research that one.
I actually did want to talk about that one for a little, but we'll talk about that in a hot second. First, we're going to talk about an actually set topic. We're going to talk about the what-ifs of the world.
History.
Such as?
Pretty much.
Like alternate historical concepts. Like
What if
Alright.
Hitler didn't kill himself?
Like
Right,
what,
that
like,
kind of thing.
Like
Yeah.
what if the Axis won the Second World War? What if the U.S. was responsible for war crimes?
Yeah, all right. Let's talk about that one real quick, actually.
Which one?
So let's just start in the biggest war of, I would argue, them all.
Yeah, it was like
World
biggest-
War II.
The greatest war.
The greatest war.
No, that was World War One.
No, because that was the Great War.
Oh my god.
You're not good at history.
No one
So-
calls World War II the greatest war.
The Greater War.
I just trademarked that.
The greatest war.
The Great War
TM.
II, Electric Boogaloo.
Okay. Anyway, so let's start with a little of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So, America joined in to
After
December
Pearl Harbor.
7th, 1941.
Look at him, he knows his dates.
Yeah.
December 8th, 1941 was when we declared war against Japan after they bombed us.
awesome.
But December 7th, 1941 was when they actually bombed Pearl Harbor.
So they
Okay.
bombed Pearl Harbor, and it was because America was technically not already involved.
They weren't involved.
but they were supplying resources,
Yeah.
and that's why we got bombed.
Also,
Do you
Japan
think-
was just being like little?
Do you think it was smart for us to get involved in the first place? So, like, start trading resources, even though we say we're not involved.
I don't know.
I actually I feel like that was a risk that I feel like that was a known risk. I feel that everybody knew that that was a possibility if they started supplying people with arms and that kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure it was considered as a possibility.
Possibility, Devin?
I think they knew it was possible, like Nolan said. But I mean, they didn't expect a surprise attack. Like, you don't expect the Spanish Inquisition.
It's why would be called a surprise attack?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
No one expects a Spanish Inquisition, and no one expects a Japanese surprise attack. That's all I'm saying.
Because they're ninjas.
Yeah. So then America gets in, and we're like, bing, bing, bong, bong, we're gonna invade your country and save our friends, the European.
Ding dong, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are gone.
that took a hot second.
Yeah, whoa. That wasn't till the end, my dude.
August 1945.
Yeah, let's talk about like Germany.
Yeah, so
Hitler.
So this
what's
crazy
the deal
dude
with Hitler?
Bless you twice.
Thank you.
So this crazy dude who had a killer mustache was like, "Hey,
Killer.
Do you think Hitler was a fan of Charlie Chaplin?
actually,
question.
we're changing the topic. No longer. I've always wondered this,
Honestly,
like, cause
there's a high possibility.
Because it was the fashion.
The thing is,
translate
right
into German.
The thing is, the movie industry was pretty new when Charlie Chaplin started doing his thing, and it was the American movie industry. It really wasn't worldwide.
Yeah.
So
but there was no English.
There was no English and stuff. Right.
Yeah,
there wasn't any dialogue or anything, but I still feel like people would have a hard time transferring movies across the seas into different countries.
I don't think it would, because the second you got it on film and you can make copies of it, say one person goes over to a different country, boom, we got worldwide.
But how do you know
movie.
that they have the same kind of projectors that they were using, the same kind of video cameras?
Video
cameras.
They just gotta, toss those projectors over.
Yeah.
Just give them the good
hurl them
spicy
over the
heat.
Atlantic.
Exactly.
And I wonder what year I don't know what the actual style of it is. The Hitler stash became no longer a symbol of fashion, and it became a
The Hitler
symbol.
stash.
Yeah.
The Hitler stash.
It's the same thing with the swastika.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Like a Buddhist thing.
This is
swastika was a
it
Buddhist
was a
symbol
Buddhist
meaning
peace sign before the Hitler.
Yeah. And Hitler's like, yo, that looks cool. Let's
That
throw a
looks
bunch
cool.
of Jews under it.
I can make a swastika out of this. What the hell?
Okay, but did you guys know?
Figured it out.
did you guys know that Hitler's original name was Schicklgruber?
Excuse me?
His original name, his birth name was Schicklgruber. Hitler was his grandfather's name, and he was like, I feel like that seems more menacing than Schicklgruber. So he adopted it.
Hitler's his last name.
Yeah.
His first name's Adolf.
Adolf.
Smart one.
Adolf.
No, they
Dolph?
Schicklgruber.
Does this work?
So weird.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think so.
He's trying to make a
To make a
swastika. with his fingers.
I mean, we could do it with Lorenzo, give me your hands.
Oh, wait.
What are you doing?
No, so I got the bottom one and the left one. You need to do the top one and the right one.
Nobody can see. It's
They
a
can feel it.
podcast.
They can feel the energy.
Okay.
Nazi energy.
So then World War II is still raging, and people are
Raging.
pow pow pow,
Right.
and everybody's not really thrilled on this whole war idea.
Right.
We got fighting in Africa.
Yeah, there was actually fighting in North Africa, and then they entered Italy.
The Battle of El
Yeah, and then
Alamein.
Italy was just like, oh no.
Thank you
Okay.
for interrupting me. The Battle of El Alamein was one of the biggest tank battles in history that took place in the Sahara.
Yeah,
Mm.
I've played Call of Duty.
And then Italy was like, hey, remember what we did in the First World War?
Let's do it again.
Switch teams
Reverse
again.
card.
And then So they've given up, and then Germany is still like, hey, we hate the Jews, and we're like, you should stop. And they go, okay. And then they surrender, and they give us all their money, and we're like, we take care of this now.
I feel like it needs to be. It feels like it needs to be mentioned that Russia played a huge part in helping us win the war because
I still find that so weird.
The Russians were actually the ones that
Soviet
entered Berlin the day that Germany surrendered.
Yeah, I mean, also
and they flew the Russian flag over the capital of Berlin.
The Germans originally had a treaty with the Russians. I think
and they broke it. Yeah,
the Russians would get half of it.
Yeah, they get half of it, and that's what kind of happened to the Berlin Wall.
And Germany or Hitler was like, "Screw you! I want your land." So.
Just like the Americans did to the Native Americans.
Do you think it would be messed up if I played the Soviet anthem?
Probably. It's not a good idea.
Operation Barbarossa kicked in, and they got their heinies
whooped.
Yep.
Anyway, so then America was like, hey, Germany, stop. And Germany went, okay. And we took all their money, and they're like, we control this now. Mm-hmm. And they're like, please no. And we're like, okay, you can have some of it back. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, thank you, but do we have to repay you? And they're like, yeah, you have to repay us. What do you think this is, a charity?
And then didn't they also have to pay for all of the repairs for what was going on?
Something like that.
Some of the damages that were caused? I don't even remember.
I want to say
really
there's
need
still
to touch up on my history. Yeah, because clearly I didn't pay enough attention in
history class
last year.
Anyway. So then Germany gave up, and Japan's like, hey, I almost made a joke that whatever. I almost went ching chong, hey, we're still here.
No, you can't say that.
Still made it.
The Overruled podcast is canceled now.
No.
Demonetized.
So they were still going strong, and then we were like, hey.
Bomb.
You guys
we got this extinction ball. We're gonna try it out. Did you know the
you guys
shadow arm just
hey, you guys are the bomb.
It's Big Lion, dude. It's Big Lion. Big Lion. He's so powerful.
I missed something.
No one understands these references.
No.
Just watch Call Me Carson.
Oh, okay.
The new map of the United States.
Drawing the United States. That is dead. He's so powerful.
Okay. All right. All right.
Back to Hitler.
Back to Hitler. Let's go.
Okay. So.
All right.
So Japan was like, hey, we're gonna surrender, and then America was like, no, you're not. Boom. Now.
Actually. Japan wasn't going to surrender.
Japan wasn't going to surrender because in their culture, surrender is dishonorable.
True.
But two of them, and they're like,
Yeah, originally we were going to nuke Tokyo, but there was too much cloud cover. So we were like, all right, screw it.
Could you imagine?
Okay,
hold
the
on.
funny thing is, okay, no, go ahead.
Could you imagine being a guy and designing a nuclear weapon that has the ability to kill anyone it lands on other than a cockroach, and just flying over, being ready to be the famous person that dropped the bomb?
But no, the thing is...
And then there was some clouds in the way. Like I'd be so sad.
Cloudy with a chance of big old meatballs.
Cloudy with a chance of
meatballs.
Well, then in that case, if it's cloudy, there's not a chance of meatballs.
Oh.
Cloudy with a chance of nuclear fallout.
The pilot who flew over the first and dropped the first nuclear bomb didn't know what it was going to do. He didn't know how powerful it was.
Oh, yeah.
Pilot was the Enola Gay?
Yep. He didn't... Shut up. He didn't know how strong it was. He thought it was just like it's a big bomb, but he didn't realize it was that big of a bomb.
Yeah, he had
no idea.
There was a group of scientists on the thing. Was it Little Boy or was it Fat Man?
It was Little Boy.
Little Boy was
first.
There was a team of scientists on that were going to study the explosion. But they put the nuke on a parachute so he could have enough time to get away.
Right.
And it was an airburst. It wasn't like most nuclear devices.
Where they hit the ground.
Yeah, like the MOAB, the Massive Ordnance Air Blast,
yeah.
is the strongest non-nuclear thing we have. Most explosives we have like ICBMs, Tomahawk missiles, stuff like that. Air-to-ground missiles, the ground-to-ground missiles are airburst.
Right.
Like the same with it's like flak cannons.
Yeah.
Like from World War I, you would shoot them into the air and they would.
And then they're on a timer and they would explode. Yeah.
They would send shrapnel. Like it's kind of like that.
To shoot down the plane.
Yes.
Hold on a second. So they would release shrapnel, air. Yeah, good enough.
Shoot down the plane.
Yeah.
All right. So that's World War II for you.
But you know the funny thing is we went off on a tangent and we never really talked about what would happen if the Axis won, which is the original
We just
question.
kind of started talking about.
You know
What
what?
happened if the Axis powers had won instead of the Allies?
I feel like.
Do you think here's a better way? Do you think that when Germany conquered all of Europe, do you think they would have tried for the Americas?
Of course it would have. I feel like the only way the Axis could have won is if Operation Barbarossa did not go into effect and they still had the Soviet Union on their side.
Okay, yeah.
Like I feel like that's the only way they could have won with
Yeah,
the
no,
manpower of the motherland.
If that were to happen, then I think that they would all just, like, conquer their own little pieces of the earth.
Yeah.
And then they would, you know...
Then one of them
they're-
would eventually
they're
get tired of the
stupid.
other.
Yeah, they would just go into war with
Okay,
each other.
honestly, I think that if the Axis won, I feel like Japan would have taken over America.
I feel like
They're closer.
Devin, who did you say was responsible for stopping Germany?
when
Like who was?
Well, Russia was really largely influential.
Russia was largely influential.
I hate you. Get this out of here. I don't want it.
Barack Obama.
Okay. So I think we should move on.
Yeah.
You know, I think we should do a quick talk on my boy, my favorite, the one and only.
Joseph Stalin.
Jeffrey Epstein.
There you go.
Hey, the guest gets it right.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, it was coming because I want to talk about what happened.
I feel like we should have a legitimate conversation because a lot of people don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah. All right.
I don't even have the full.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll better explain. You go with
So, pretty much what happened is. Oh, there was just a.
Announcement.
Yeah. So there was this. One morning, this guy woke up and he was like, I'm the Prince of England and I want to have sex with an underage girl. And this man came into his room, kicked down the door and said, "Hi, I'm Jeffrey Epstein and do I have the offer for you? I have this plane and this plane goes to this island and on this island is underage girls that I've taken away from their family.
Yes.
And while you're on this island, you can have all the sexy times that you want without having to worry
With your willy.
with your Willie, silly old Willie."
The second time
Willy
you
bum
mentioned
bum.
the Willy.
That's great.
And so the Prince of England was like, "Yo, I like 14-year-old girls." And so he hopped on this plane and it was like, "Hey, we're on the plane. We have to go pick up some people. Who are we going to pick up?" And he's like, "Well, I got the Clintons' phone number right here. Let's go, and let's go pick them up." And they're like, Bill's like, "Yo, Hillary, I just got a text from Epstein. He's coming and swooping us." So they go, and they pick up the Clintons, and then the Clintons are...
Question. You're not being sarcastic.
No,
Is this
I'm-
the full story.
This is... So you understand, like, who's
Dramatic.
involved with Epstein.
Okay.
Dramatic reenactment.
Got you. Continue.
Yes, the Clintons were involved with Epstein.
They were buddy.
He had enough dirt to put him away.
Right.
And yes, the prince slept with underage girls.
Solid. Alright.
So, anyway. So, and then there's a bunch of celebrities that were like, "Hey, we'd like to come."
Smart.
Alright.
So people just kept getting invited?
People just kept getting invited to this island. And Jeffrey Epstein was this genius of a man, and he kept track of everything. He had dirt on anybody you know. You could be like
Michael Jackson.
He was a financier.
Tupac.
Really?
He's in
Not
Cuba.
financier. He worked in finance for a long time. So.
But he also had a sex island.
Right. Yes, but the reason he
That's
was so meticulous
the-
is because he did finance.
Yeah.
Why does that sound like a bad video game?
Can I?
Anyway.
So did he traffic the girls that he kept there? Did he sell them, or did he not sell them? Did he traffic them at all?
Well, there was different things going on. He was sex trafficking to like Middle Eastern countries
Okay.
off of his island, and then he would also he would do rent-to-own programs with girls.
I do that with a drum set, dog.
Rent-a-girl.
And pretty much that's how all these high powerful people got a chance with these.
Yeah. Okay.
And they weren't ugly. Have you seen the pictures of these girls? They were cute.
Whoa! We should say that because we're 16.
Hey, Epstein.
Yo, Epstein.
I chose those words very specifically. I chose those girls, not that girl, and I said cute, not hot.
Damn,
There's a
sexy.
difference.
And 14-year-olds are cute as shit.
Cut so much out of this fucking podcast.
So
Freaking podcast.
all right, so and then Epstein was like, and now here's the story of Epstein's suicide.
Quote unquote.
How hard can we convey air quotes when I'm recording?
So Epstein was like, he walked into his hotel cell room and was like, hey, you're my cellmate, I'll never be alone. And his cellmate was like, yeah, I'm emotionally stable. And then they high-fived, and there was 2 security guards posted outside his room. And then he went, yo, there will always be 2 security guards posted at your room. And then he high-fived his security guards.
We can't forget that he was on suicide watch and under 24-hour surveillance.
He was supposed to be checked on every 3 minutes by a security guard. And then one day, randomly, when he decided, oh, today I'll kill myself,
Right.
I just need to wait for the perfect opportunity. It came up. The first guard went, oh, I'm tired. I want to go take a nap. So he went and took a nap. And then the second
You're
guard,
supposed to take a nap when
He
you're
was gonna
watching
go
criminals.
online shopping.
for
you
girls.
need to get. I was gonna make a shoes joke, dog.
Alright, anyway, so Jeffrey Epstein was like, alright, sweet, bye, first security guard. And then the second security guard was like, hey, cellmate that's perfectly stable, you have a therapy appointment, so I'm going to take you to that. And his cellmate that's like, hey, I'm perfectly stable. I have an idea. Before I leave, I'm gonna play with this water gun and shoot the camera so they malfunction. And Jeffrey Epstein went, that's a genius idea. There was way too many things that were just coincidence, you know? That it was like, he killed himself when there was nobody else around. And he also had broken, parts in the back of his neck, but he hung himself forward, so the propulsion was wrong. He was, obviously murdered.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't he apparently hang himself with toilet paper
Ah, yes.
4 feet above the ground?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I do believe I heard that.
Real
The
sloppy.
fact
with
that,
us.
the toilet paper came down so that he was only 4 feet off the ground.
I saw this one funny tweet. It was like
Actually-
Hillary Clinton. I'm so sad to hear about Jeffrey Epstein's suicide. Bill Clinton commented, Hillary, that doesn't happen until tomorrow.
Did you guys hear about the security guard that was watching him?
No?
He actually did kill himself tomorrow. No. He unfortunately, the way that it was propped was the same way that Robin Williams hung himself, unfortunately.
Very sad.
Which, yeah, it was low to the ground. It was a different style of hanging, so what he did is he tied it to the top bunk and he put his feet stiff on the bottom bunk so that he could kick himself out. Pretty much tilting his body upside down.
Okay.
So that his feet were in the air when
and then
he died.
swung down.
And then he swung down.
Okay.
So his head was closer to the ground than his feet were.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like it would break toilet paper.
Yeah.
One would think.
One would think, yeah.
Alright. Well, is there any other important matters we need to discuss today?
I think we discovered it. Epstein. I think we talked about it. Epstein didn't kill himself.
Glad that we took so much time to come to that.
We did.
So powerful.
Alright. So that's going to be it for today's podcast. Thank you for tuning back in. And we will see you next week. And you have been overruled. Bye, guys.